Good morning, everyone, again. You get a lot of Brandon this morning. I don't know if this is clicking or not. Let's see, on. Oh, wrong way. All right. Honduras 2025. I want you guys to know about all of the good that you do, okay? This report is about one thing that you support. I don't know if you realize how many good things go into the monies that you contribute. If it were not for you guys putting your money in the box back there, we couldn't do this. We couldn't spread the word in Honduras. But we also couldn't send funds to the Dominican Republic and to Haiti for spreading the gospel there. And we couldn't send money to our brethren in Mozambique when they have a famine to help them survive and have food to eat. So even though you may not have gone on this trip, you are integral into the performance of this trip. And I would encourage you, if you would like to go on this trip, that you should do it, because it will help build your faith and it will help in your appreciation of what God has given us. This is our team this year. We had a few new people, and we'll talk about them, but this is a place that we go to and take a picture every year. So where exactly were we? Wrong way again. Here in the grand scheme of things. You know where we're at? Here in Alabama. Right. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. Maybe not. The pointer doesn't work up there. But we're in Alabama. We're going down to Honduras in Central America, and we're really in the center of Honduras. We take a flight and usually end up going out of somewhere in Texas, DFW, or Miami usually. And of course, we went out and back into Miami. Now, why are we going to Honduras? Okay, this is not a vacation trip for us. Okay, there are some folks that go down there and go on mission trips for a vacation. Okay, and that's not why we go. Why we go is to build up our brethren. We go to the same place every year because we know people down there, and we really feel like we're doing really good work in helping our brethren down there. There's a couple of preachers and their wives, Eduardo and Maximo, and they work in this little town called Campamento in Olancho State in Honduras. And the brethren there are growing. They're growing in their faith. They're growing in their capacity to do work for God. We've been going down there for 6 years now? Is that right? This is our 6th year to go to Honduras. And through that period of time, we have seen growth in family structure. Instead of people living together, now they're married. Okay? That's part of what God wants for the family structure, right? Men and women living together in harmony in a covenant relationship with God. We're also seeing, one of the things that we did this year, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later, is church growth in leadership. So one of the things that we talked about and had a meeting on this year was how to appoint elders and deacons and why that's important. And they have a desire to do that now that they have spiritual leaders and men that feel accountable to God to do the right thing according to His Scripture. So that's why we're going. We're taking this trip to love on our brethren, to help them, to spread the word and the gospel and the good news of God. So one other thing that we do, we get to see a lot of little children. Um, we work in the schools. Schools in Honduras are not like schools here. Schools in Honduras don't mind you going and talking about Jesus. It's wonderful. And so we go every year, and this year we got to go to 4 different schools. Okay, so we went to the Boro School, the Cacao School, the Chachaguata School, and the Coyol School. Okay, and we get to do basically an afternoon with them of teaching them about Jesus. A lot of it's kind of like a VBS type skit, and we'll see that in a little bit, how that worked this year. So this year's theme for our children's play or skit was the Good Samaritan. And so we had, again, a lot of you guys helped us with that in preparing our skit. We had a number of essentially pictures and storyboards in the background in Spanish that showed and gave the story of the Good Samaritan while we acted it out. And so you can see here that we had the Jesus character, that'd be Sam. And we had Jonathan Bailey. He was the guy that was questioning, Jesus. And of course, Scott was our narrator. And we do all of this in Spanish because it does absolutely no good to talk to a bunch of people that only speak Spanish and English. That you think about that with the speaking in tongues. We'd have been speaking in tongues with them, and if there's no interpreter, well, it does no good. But you can see here that you have Las Ladrones. Our girls were the thieves, Ladrones, the bad guys, and they beat up the Jew on the road, the hombre izquierdo. That was me, the guy that got beat up. And Lindley and Sarah Beth and Annabelle were our thieves this year, and they got great joy out of whipping up on me as I was laying on the ground. But we had new people come this year. Annabelle and Sarah Beth and Lindley and Ashley and Carrie were all new this year. I don't think I missed anybody else. Everybody else was old hat. A bunch of those guys. We came back. This year was my 3rd year, and I got to have a good role here. I'm draped across my burro bueno. Cash was the burro. He was dressed up in the donkey outfit, and he hauled me off to the innkeeper, and we got a lot of good laughs out of that. But the children are very interactive, and they appreciate the story. A lot of them know Bible stories, which is wonderful. And so for us to go and they get to see us, they go, oh, the gringos, gringos, gringos. And we are the gringos. We're the white folks coming down to Honduras. It's funny, but they gringos, we're the Yanks. And it's a great time. Okay? And so we have this. And of course, you'll see in the back the sacerdote, the temple man, the Good Samaritan, and the inn. The theme, the storyboards tell the story of the play that we're doing. And we also left that down there for Maximo and Eduardo to have in Bible class. So they can use our props and our stuff because, again, what's it going to do good for us to bring back a bunch of stuff in Spanish? That's not going to do us very much good, but it'll do a whole lot more down there. Okay, so working in the schools. This is also my section, right? Okay. So you can see here, part of what we do is we go to these schools, and they're public schools, but they're funded in part by, and the kids get to go to school partially by us helping the kids that are funded through CRF. And of course, you can see my bride there. She was very excited. The girls were very excited. Cash, I don't know what he was doing there. Not so excited. He may have been tired. Now, I will say, at this school here, it was Morrow where you got hurt. Was that? Well, it was this day. Scott Vincent tore both of his hamstrings. That was great. He limped along. It was awful. If you want to, you can talk to Cash about how bad it was. But you see here that the kids are singing songs. We also sing a number of songs. We sing, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Esta lucecita, yo la dejo brillar. So we sing songs to the kids in Spanish, and they participate. But one other really good thing that we do is we also have activities that go along with that. So we will, like this year, we had hearts, and we had handed out little Band-Aids and talked to the kids about the story of the Good Samaritan. We also gave out the little Jesus, because everybody needs a little Jesus, so I don't know if y'all seen those little bitty plastic Jesuses. We gave out little Jesuses because everybody needs a little Jesus. And I could tell you what that was in Spanish, but I forgot. I can't remember. Un Jesús pequeño, sí. And so you can see here the hearts and the hands and the Band-Aids. We do a bunch of activities, crafts. We do Bible games. Scott always does tons of Bible games, and all of our kids do too. The whole idea here is to get these children excited about Christ. And the beautiful thing about going down there is a lot of these kids, they know about Jesus. And Christianity is not something that's looked down on in Honduras. It's very much a positive. So the other really good opportunity while we're working with the children and dealing with the principal and the teachers and doing our thing there, Maximo and Eduardo always go and they talk to the parents. And they use that as an opportunity for outreach into these communities. And a lot of the people that are there, we'll see them at church. There's a couple of different churches that we go to inside Campamento. One's right in the middle of the city and one's a little bit out of the city. But it gives Maximo and Eduardo a really good opportunity to preach. And again, this is at the schoolhouse while we're working with the kids and doing our skit and doing a Bible story and lesson. The adults also get that too. Another really neat thing is most of the time we will have at least one or two of the schools that will do a Bible story and a skit for us when we go. So it's not just us giving to them, it's them giving to us too. It's a very uplifting experience to go and work with these kids and the adults that are there, and really it's a community thing more than what you'd think of as school here in the States. All right, so I'm going to hand it off to the boys, and they're going to talk about Concrete Day.
I got Concrete Day.
You have Concrete.
All right, well, I get talked about one of the, I wouldn't say our favorite day, but it's a good day. So we got Concrete Day. Here you can see we've got a huge group, or a lot bigger group than we normally do. We were joined by the Hills group. They're a group out of Texas, and they joined us last second because they're going to go to Nicaragua to do a missed trip there, but their visas got denied, and they were able to join us down in Honduras and made this day a lot easier. So
Amen.
have more hands, the better. Let's see. Oh yeah. Also, it included with the Hills was the Kevin Washner. Did I say it right? Kevin Wasner's family, and he was kind of like our head CRF guy that was down there to help be with our group, and it was nice meeting them too. They're out. A lot of them were from Missouri. That was it. Here. All right, here we've got Maximo, which he's the preacher down at the church, and he's got a leaf right there. Kind of thought it was pretty funny showing us how to drink some water when we don't have a cup. You just go grab a big old leaf, wad it up into a cup, and you don't even need a paper cup when you get a leaf. But what else we got? Everywhere you go, you'll see Dad with the kids, and pretty much every single kid there loves a good magic show. So you have Dad over there like pulling like a ring out from behind their ears, or throwing a little alien at them or something like that. I never know what's happening. It's funny to see their reactions. And let's see. Yeah, video's on the next one. But right here, just kind of like the outside of the house we were working on, and we should have it inside. This is a video. I don't know how to get it to play. There you go. Kind of showing our process of bucket line. We'd mix up the concrete, or we'd have sand that would have to load into these buckets and then pass it down a big old line and dump it into the houses. And got a video of it this year rather than last year's. High tech.
20 bags.
Was it 20 bags?
20 bags.
Yeah, that's leveling the floor. We're not starting concrete yet. That's just leveling the floor.
Yeah, the floor in this house is complete dirt, so we had to level the floor out, make sure it was even, and the older Honduras men down there have some kind of trick with the strings and measuring tapes. I don't know how they do it, but it's like amazing how they can get everything level down there with what little they have.
Plumb line.
Plumb line?
Yeah.
That's it. And this is kind of a picture of the concrete as we're getting it down. I think that's Donna right there, the one crouched over, kind of lining everything up. She's one of the people who are one of the Honduran ladies who kind of goes with our group everywhere. But that's just a picture of our concrete floor. Make sure there's no notes on that one. Yeah. And got some more pictures here of the concrete volcanoes. I don't know if y'all remember from last year. That's the harder part of the day is they don't have concrete mixers, so we'll take a shovel, kind of load all the sand and concrete mix and water up into a pile and just have to shovel it in a circle over and over until you mix it, eventually makes concrete. You move that in the buckets and put it into the house. Got a good picture of kind of our group right there on a lunch break. They brought us food, kind of keep us fueled and going throughout the day. Oh, there's the video again. God, anything you can say.
Denise, Carrie, Jonathan, me, a bunch of the girls are in the line. Some of the kids from Texas. When you kind of get wore out, you have to swap up jobs.
Mm-hmm. That's where it helps to have a bunch of people, is that you know straight out, keep everybody fresh and working. And this is one of the better parts of the concrete day, is after we were done, the concrete day really helps the families out. The way Donnie kind of explained it to us, he said that the dirt floors are almost like a petri dish. So if one person gets sick in the house, everybody's going to get sick. So by putting in a concrete floor, we are able to get them off of a dirt floor and also keep the whole family healthier, and that can improve their life significantly. And here, this picture on y'all's left, that's us praying over the family, or that's the wife of the house, just kind of as an encouragement, and it really, really helps lift them up. And on the right, you have, I think that's the dad of the house, and that's at the church. We saw him the next day after we had done concrete for there and completely filled up their house. The next day we saw the family at the church. I was just really encouraging to see them there. And his name is more Modesto. So Modesto, he was a really nice guy. I was able to talk to him, and Dad talked to him too. So I think now we'll have the afternoon youth event. Cash.
So on Saturday we headed down to Maximo's church, and a bunch of the families brought their kids there, and we performed our skit for them, and it was really fun. And they had a few skits for us that they did. And at first we couldn't really understand what was happening, but as they went along we started to pick things up, and that was really fun, trying to figuring out what they were saying. And I think they all had really good messages. And this was my favorite parts of the trip, was playing with the kids. They were real fun and wild. At the daycare, the kids in the morning, they were like climbing on me. They were like 6, all on top of me, and they were trying to reach my head, I think, and that was their game. Whoever could reach my head first won. And here's us grouped up at the church. And all the kids, they got together and they quoted Philippians 4:13 for Dave. And Maximo read words from Dave to the church there, and it was really sweet. And here at the end, on the left, is a game where we had a dance-off. The boys versus the girls, and the boys won because we're better. We danced our hearts out there. And on the right, we played this game where we had to get like the basketball to the back. I didn't like it. We lost that one. And then next up, we have the food delivery.
This is the hike that we went on to deliver to the 2 families in Coyol. As you can see on the top right, the family was the Avila family. I think they had to take it was 21 minutes by car just to get to the town, so probably like almost an hour walking up and down that hill. They have to go that way every day to school, to work, and just anytime they need to buy groceries. The family on the bottom, I think they had 7 kids, or was that?
I think that's the same family.
Oh, that's the same family.
Yeah, they had 7 kids.
Oh, there they are. The father wished that he could give something back to us after we prayed for his family. They needed diapers, snacks, just everything. I'm pretty sure they were reusing disposable diapers for their kids.
Yeah, it's very humbling when you see a family with Pampers on a clothesline, reusing Pampers. So it's very, very humbling.
And then the bad part about it was the slope was like 70 degrees. As you can tell, Annabelle did not have a fun time with it.
It was hot.
It was very hot. Yeah, if Alabama's hot, Honduras is something
And
else.
we had a nice Brahma bull out there protecting his cows
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of the path.
And then connecting the church with the family. Is that Mr. Scott's?
I think so. No.
Which way do you push it? Down?
Down.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, so this is a picture taken in front of the church building in Campamento, where we normally will take one while we're there. So they're talking about connecting with the church family here. So you can see different areas from the daycare to the different points of interest, and then the Lacano and El Pino Church. Several places we went to in relation to the brethren there and working with them. So worship in Lacano in the morning. We do this. This one every time. It's the one they call Church in the Mountain. It's outside of town. It's in the hills, but the people that go to that church primarily come from the mountains. And so that's why they refer to it that way. And several of them will walk, a couple of hours to get to church. And they'll be there every Sunday. And they spend a lot of time together. So we were able to get there and be with them and worship that morning. So let me go back here. Yeah, they're having the dedication over here to a new child that was born. You can see the family. You see the mom holding the little baby. So that was a big deal. That was Rufino and Anya with their new baby. So that was really encouraging to see that and to see how they treat the birth of a new child among them, and the prayers for that baby and the family. So we were able to be there for that. It was also a new family from Mexico there who had joined the congregation there, and we're going to be living there for 3 years. And they treated that as a celebration as well and wanted to have a prayer for them. So then we moved on. You can see these are some areas, some tables, some kids' tables and chairs for the class that's coming soon. They're in the process of getting that set up there in Lacano. So, we're there, obviously helping them and worshiping with them, but just encouraging them as best that we can in those areas. So the worship in El Pino in the afternoon, that's back in town. We had kids activities here that we were doing as well, and but prior to that, in the worship, you can see Brandon was leading the singing there, and did a great job leading the songs in Spanish. Went really well. And so glad that we have a few people like him and Scott and a couple of others among us who have picked up on the Spanish a little bit better than some of the rest of us, and can do those types of things. So we really appreciate that. Also, again, working with the children. And then here, you can see this is the kids class. And so they're utilizing activities there that we had developed, and specifically some that Lisa Posey had developed, and others have worked on those things as well. And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's not just the people that go. There's lots of people who can't go that are working on things here and spend hours doing that and developing that. And you can see that those children really appreciate that, and they're utilizing the hearts that Lisa had developed there. And what I will say before we go to that is they were making a heart there, and once again, everywhere you went, you would see the impact that Dave Long had on these people over the many years that we've been going now, and it was really impactful there. They were making a heart for Dave, and so it was, you could just really see that impact greatly there. I believe this is a video, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, just, is that all you do is just wait on it? Hit down. Okay. You can just see the children doing in the Bible class. You can imagine what they're singing. We don't have the sound, but you can see.
We could sing it. You want to sing it?
No, I'm good.
You're good.
I'm good. But they love to be involved, just like all children, right? They love the activity of being, not just sitting all the time. They like to be involved. Okay. I thought I had everything on my notes here. Hold on. So this is the worship in El Pino as far as the kids' class is concerned. You can see folks helping there as well. Again, utilizing a lot of the activities in those classes that we made, and just the things that we would teach our own children about God and loving your neighbor and loving God. They're also learning the 17 time periods there as well. That was something they were working on. And so, some of that has been developed previously, and we've utilized previously, and some of that's been passed on with them. And so, it's just a lot of things that we were able to bring to them that they're able to utilize that on their own. They just really don't have the resources a lot of times for those materials. So now as Brandon talked about a little earlier, we had the discussion on elders and deacons. So, it was really encouraging to me. This is really important part. All of it's important. There's nothing there that's not important. But I think for me, this trip, working with the children is always a blessing. And most of you know how much I love little children. But this was probably the most encouraging portion of the trip for me, this trip. And that's because the very first trip that we took, there was about 7 of us that went. And Dave and I, specifically then, a lot of the discussion surrounded the fact that, the men just really had no involvement in church. And just, there was really no leadership. There was only a couple, and Eduardo, being the senior minister there, he was really pulling the lion's share of everything all the time. And of course, we see that in congregations throughout the U.S. All the time as well, and in many places. But in this scenario, as was talked about earlier, you had a community where, starting back then, the importance of marriage was not there. And a lot of that we've talked about in the past on even political pressures and things of that nature that create a lot of those scenarios for them through taxations and all kind of stuff. But the idea that of even being married was, it was far out of their mind for most of them, because it just had not been pressed. If it was, it came down to the fact they were too poor to pay the tax, to be married, and a number of other things. So y'all know a lot about that. But just that whole male piece of the puzzle was just really a mess. And so with that, what we started on that very first trip, and I can remember the discussions between, a couple of us about the fact that that's one of the number one things we want to be able to affect there, is we want to be able to affect the leadership of the congregation and help, really show that men need to take part, that men need to step up. And if you think about it, one of the pieces of that is by men loving on children. You may not think of it that way, but when you see us and you see us playing with children, the ladies playing with children is a pretty natural thing, but the men playing with children, it's not natural for them. Okay? It's not a normal, natural process for their society. And when they see it out of us, the children respond to that, the men see that, and they start, that gets their minds thinking in a different direction as well. So it really kind of is all of a plan, really, more than you realize. But we started talking with the men there. We've had some discussions in the past, and it led up to this year. And they wanted to have a discussion on elders and deacons. They feel like they have the men there. We feel like they have the men there. And so they set us up as kind of a panel on elders and deacons. And, we kind of talked about and went through the scripture, which they've been through as well, but we went through that again. They had questions that they wanted to ask. There were a few that asked questions and some pointed things as well, which was great. But we really talked to them about what that meant, and the qualities of the men, and went through that in the scripture and just kind of how that works, and how to encourage them to not look at it as something you can't do, but as something you can do and you should desire to do. Okay? So it really, really was a big deal. It really uplifted the group there. With Maximo and Eduardo and their wives, working as hard as they do all the time, it was really uplifting to them. I can tell you that, tremendously so. And after we had a download after that with them, and said they felt it went really well, and they, we just need to keep praying at this time. I don't think that they've done anything yet with that, other than they continue to study and to work on that. And it's just going to take a little bit more time for the men who are probably qualified to meet that other qualification, that is desiring, and so, and really feeling like they're in a position of, I'm worthy to do this. Well, it's really not. None of us are worthy of anything, right? But we have to strive to do it. And so I think that we're well on the way there. It was a great, good hour. They wanted about an hour, is what it was talked about, but they kept us, and it was about an hour and a half long discussion. Okay, Sam.
So I'll be talking about the sponsored children night. This is one of our favorite nights because it's just so exciting. All the children just love being there with us. Just a lot of smiles. It's a little bit chaotic though. And one of the things I've noticed this last time is there's not enough of us for all of them. And one of just the stories that I had was there's the Velazquez children, the two on the, your right, wait. Yeah, you're right. So they were just kind of there. They were twiddling their thumbs and didn't really know what to do, how to get interacted with us. And so brought some just some pipe cleaners and beads to them. And you should have seen their eyes because they grew about 10 times. And they just, like this little bracelets that we had prepared for them. It was the biggest thing to them. They got them enjoying the time that they had with us. And that's just one of the small stories I had. But in the first page or first picture, you see some of the bags that the church put together and gave to all the sponsored children. And then the sisters at the church, they worked on some Bibles, little gift bags for the Velazquez children, and they really loved those. And then another thing that our group did differently this time was we actually worked to provide some food resources for them this time to go home with them. And so that was a real blessing. I actually rode in a vehicle taking families home, and I was with Juanita's family, which is on the far right. And so they were just really overjoyed to be able to have these provisions. And you could just tell that their lives had been kind of changed by that night and by the support that we give them. So yeah, then those are the bags right there. And that's about all I have for the Sponsored Children Night. But it's just always just a blessing, always very encouraging to see their faces. Turn it over.
Yeah, thank you all, because you packed the bags and you provided the money for the food, and we couldn't do this without you. So
just a couple of slides on the daycare children. I did not know about Cash's game where they were trying to touch the top of your head. I wish I would have had a picture of that. But yeah, as Cash said, playing with the daycare children, that we are staying in bunk rooms upstairs at this daycare. So we get to come down every morning to enjoy the time with these kids and love on those children. The one thing that I wanted to share with you guys is going into the classroom at the daycare with these children, and you're loving on them and playing little games with them. But I learned really quick, when Ashley Rawls walks into that room, she's ready to start a class with them, and we started singing songs with them, and I was just following in line. What do you want to do next, Miss Ashley? Because she came in and took charge and just wanted to enjoy it, with her experience. So had some fun with those kids. Even had so much fun. I think this cutie in the middle here, Her name is Carol Daniela, and the Rawls just fell in love with her, and that's their new sponsor, little girl. So that was wonderful for them. They told me also, Ashley and Denise and Carrie went to a local store and were able to get some puzzles, books, and paint and stickers for the children at the daycare. So I was glad to see one of our new people just jump right in. Also, you can see our girls. They jumped right in there. So they were not all just climbing on Cash. They did get an opportunity to play with others too. So playing with the girls. This is Brigath. One of the first trips they went down in 2018. The guys did the floor for Carmen. Y'all may have heard us talk about Sister Carmen. Sister Carmen has a floor built for in 2018. She's still a faithful member at the church there in town. That's her youngest daughter there, Brigath. And also another cute little girl, Denesi, is in these pictures. One last thing about the daycare is it's really one of the people that run that daycare. Her name is Ceci. And when you meet Ceci, you will know she takes care of things there. Not only she's a member at the church there in town too, so we see her there. But Ceci makes sure they're doing their prayers before the meals. And she sent me a picture just recently. I shared it on Facebook. Some of you guys may have seen it, where they have a values class that she has kept going every Friday with these children that are in the daycare. So I love seeing what Ceci is doing at this daycare. I'm a daycare kid when I was young, so I love loving on these kids because that was me one day, back in the day. In a room, wanting to have some fun with people. So thank you guys for all y'all do, because y'all help also at the daycare as well.
All right, old friends and new friends. See some familiar faces in here. We have our big group picture up here on the left. There'll be some people you recognize, maybe some you don't. And one thing I want to say real quickly as we get into this, kind of introducing some new faces and catching up on some people we've met in the past, is just the amount of impact and influence that this group has on that area and other people in that area. And it's nothing special about the 15 people that went. I think probably anybody from this Chelsea family would have the same impact. But even others who come down on these trips to do work, they see God working through us. And they see our love for God, for each other, and for our neighbors. That's exactly what we were talking about this year. And with that, they want to be part of what we're doing. And that's amazing. They see that good work, and they want to be involved with that. And you see some of this. We'll talk about them a little bit. On your right, we have Carlos, who's our new translator this year. My opinion, Carlos was amazing. Did an absolutely incredible job. I would say the best translator I've met down there. We've had some others do a great job. As far as his fluency and able to put things in the right words, Carlos was absolutely amazing. A great tour guide for the local area too. He's one of those guys who knows everybody in the area and knows if you're shopping or looking for something, he knows where to go. We'll talk about this again in a minute, but I would ask prayers for Carlos. As much good as he has going on in his life, as much talent as he has, I think he has a good heart, but like many of us, he struggles. And there's a lot going on in his life that he needs help with. So just keep him in your prayers and pray that he will continue to be a part of that organization and a positive influence as we go through. Pictured here, we have a few really familiar faces here. Up on your left, we got Brandon and Israel. I believe Israel, Brandon, demanded that shirt from Brandon. Yeah. That was not a request. It was a Chelsea shirt. Yeah, he had a Chelsea shirt, and with the relationship we had with Israel, he had to have that shirt. We've got Madden in the top right, and then Jeffrey that you see with the boys down there at the bottom. Madden travels from Texas. She's part of that group and tries to coordinate her travel with us to again, work with our group because she appreciates the work we're doing. Jeffrey is a local there. We've known Jeffrey. He's been there every year that I've gone. I think he's probably been there every year. One thing about Jeffrey, he's working toward going back to college and working toward a degree. He's been working as a translator and just kind of odd jobs, but he's actively working toward trying to move forward with his life and do something a little bit better. He's a member of the church there, a great young man, and again, somebody to keep in our prayers as we go forward.
You can't tell it there, but Jeffrey was born without legs.
That's right. Jeffrey, you can't see it in the picture, and you really don't notice it most of the time, but he has prosthetic legs. Makes it difficult for him to get around, but he still does what he can to be involved and do all the work that he can with us. Got Scott and Donnie up there. Donnie is kind of the boots on the ground. He's the guy, the local guy that lives there in Campamento that we work with. He's the guy that gets things done. When we need transportation, when we need supplies for concrete day, when we need schedule changes, whatever it may be, Donnie handles that, along with his wife Donna, who was mentioned earlier. Between the two of them, they really keep things running in Campamento. On your right, we've got Kevin and Kim Wasner. Kevin, we met a couple years ago while we were down there. This time his family came down with him. He works with CRF and is one of in a leadership position with them. His wife came down, as well as their daughter and her family, Lauren, her husband Conrad, and their children Jace and Hannah. And they were an absolute pleasure to work with and get to know. And again, as we were leaving, they've stayed in touch with several members of our group and said, "Hey, let us know when you're going back to Campamento. We're gonna be there with you. We want to be a part of what you're doing." And that's not just those people that are there from Chelsea, but that's everybody here. We appreciate everybody being a part of that. As we kind of wind up toward the end, think about a prayer list. There's a lot of people, a lot of different things that we need to be praying for with this work. I won't go through and list everybody, talk about everybody, but especially Maximo and his wife Daisy, Eduardo and his wife Cindy, the work that's being done there for the churches there, for the members there, especially as we see the growth, we see the maturing of those Christians and those congregations. We see the work that's being done in the community. We just ask that everyone keep that work in your prayers. They will be faithful, that they will be courageous, they will be bold in what they do, and that they can shine God's light and show His glory to the people all around them. Again, a lot of names on that list, but just in general, let's pray for the work. Pray for the work we're doing, pray for the work others are doing, and let's pray that that seed will continue to be sown and continue to grow as we've seen it grow over the past few years. Just closing thoughts and what's next. It's difficult to describe the impact this trip has on you until you've experienced it. There is a closeness that you develop with your fellow family here, your members from Chelsea, but also a closeness with the people there. And the impact that you have on the lives, as Sam was saying, just the smallest things for the children bring such joy. And just the little things that we can do to have an impact, not only on the work, but on their lives, is really incredible. While we were down there, they let us know about 2 children in the church that needed sponsors, that needed help. And that's already been taken care of from this group. So I appreciate everybody stepping up. There are a lot more children, not just in Honduras, but other places as well. So I encourage you to think about that. And if that's something on your heart, help these kids. It literally is putting clothes on their back, food in their bellies, and an education. It is a good work to help these kids. There's a lot more to be done. And I would add, there's work to be done not just in Honduras, but there's work to be done here too. And I know there's a lot of, let's say, behind the scenes or unknown work going on here. with good deeds that are being done, work that's done, Bible studies that are held, remembers here that most of us never even hear about or know about. But find a way, somewhere, somehow, to be involved. Do that kingdom work that God has called us to do, whether it's at home or abroad or wherever we find ourselves. Be involved. Follow the footsteps of Christ and do that work. We will continue to work with this group here. We're looking at some other groups as well to potentially work with, but there's a lot to be done. And we very much appreciate all those who've contributed, who've done work. Special thanks to Scott Junkin for just all the coordination and communication, setting up the trip and the planning and everything. Scott did put a tremendous amount of work into that. A lot of work went into the materials. Just a huge thank you to everybody. But the work's not done. We have more to do. So as we wrap up this morning, I just encourage everyone to think about that. What can you do? Where can you help? How can you help? What does that look like? We can all do something. It's not always going to be the same thing. It may not be big, it may not be small, but we can all do something to work for God. So that in mind, we will have our song. Brandon, lead us in our closing song, and then we'll be led in a prayer for dismissal.
So as